Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online Kashmir Cultural Heritage Awareness Series. Today is our 65th week, and our speaker is Sri Giridhar Mamidi. Giridhar Mamidi is well known to us, as he made a few presentations earlier. And the topic is suggestions on taking over PoJK and Sharada Peeth. Today's prayer is by Aditya Karthik. Aditya ji started learning Carnatic music from Srimati Kamakshi Kalyanasudaram at the age of 6. He has participated in many music competitions and programs conducted in North America. He has been a part of Subramanya Bhujangam project in our Guru's channel that we all know, Jagadi Kriti. He also learns Mirdagam from Sri K.H. Vineet and is joining us from Connecticut, USA. Go ahead, Karthik.
నమస్కారం అక్క. గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుడికి తెలియగపోదు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి 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 తెలియగపోదు. కరుకైన హృద్రోగ గహనమును కోటను సద్గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి తెలియగపోదు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి తెలియగపోదు. తనువు సుత ధనదార దయాది బాంధవులు తనువు సుత ధనదార దయాది బాంధవులు జనించి చెదరు జాలిని కరుణతో మనసునండకసేయు మందనుచు మనసునండకసేయు మందనుచు తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడు త్యాగరాజాప్తు డగు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడు త్యాగరాజాప్తు డగు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి తెలియగపోదు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గుణికి తెలియగపోదు. నమస్కారం.
Namaskaram. Thank you, Aditya. It was so nice, and we are all delighted that you joined us today.
Thank you.
We hope to see you again sometime next year.
Okay.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, uncle.
We thank Sri Kanchi Mutt for our ongoing Kashmir initiatives and offer our namaskarams to His Holiness Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal. Kanchi Math, as we all know, has always been in the forefront, modestly working with the sole aim of national integration, spiritual enlightenment, and preserving the uniqueness of Kashmir, as Kashmir is our cultural heritage. Now, today's program is going to be by Sri Giridhar Mamidi. In case you are joining today, as a prerequisite, you should go and watch 45 and 46, but not right away, but you can go back and watch those programs. That was a very inspiring presentation by, you're not a Kashmiri Pandit, by a non-Kashmiri Pandit who made a wonderful presentation about temples not covered by many people so far in our series. Inspired by his presentation, one of my ex-colleagues from the UK came to visit these temples in Kashmir. And he also made a presentation a couple of weeks ago. So after this, I'm sure you'll go back and watch those series 45 and 46. Before I hand over to you, Giridhar ji, just one observation. I reported earlier that your name search in Google, gave 28,800 views that time. I thought, why not I check now? I don't think you would have done it. It is reading 37,500 in less than 5 months, a 30% increase. I'm sure you appreciate as a finance guy. So there must have been something for all this, and I'm sure you will talk about it. And you're going to join us again early next year. And the title is very inspiring. A lot of people called, and I shared with you their views. Everyone is eagerly awaiting your presentation today. And so happy that you joined again for the third time, and we welcome you. Thank you.
Namaskar, Shankarji, and my humble pranamams to Kanchi Paramacharya and to the Kanchi Peetham and to the lotus feet of Adi Shankaracharya. We would not have been what we are today had it not been for the great renaissance revival that has been initiated by Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Otherwise, this whole country had completely lost connection with its Sanatana roots and Bauddham, Jainam, and Charvakam and Ajivakam. All these kinds of thoughts had taken over the whole country, and so it was Adi Shankara who revived it. No wonder Kanchi Peetham is taking forward such a great legacy and trying to reconnect back the Kashmir that we have all really missed out, forgotten in the last 6-7 decades. And I really appreciate Shankarji, you and your team for having hosted 65 weeks relentlessly, giving so much of knowledge from every known perceivable angle about Kashmir. So I think looking at seeing your videos, all these videos, people should have such a wonderful connect to the holy land of Kashmir, which is of course the land of Sharada Mata and land of Shankara and Adi Shankara. So I'm more than delighted to be with you, and I'm in my humble pranamams to all of you for considering me fit enough to present at your August webinars. Shankarji, what we lack in our country essentially, I don't know whether we should blame any Buddhism or Gandhiji or anybody else. I don't know. I don't want to get into those politics. But as a nation, as a civilization, we have lost our kshatram, the ability for us to survive, retain, reclaim our heritage is something which we are very poor at. So the need of the hour today is to revive our dharmika kshatram. Kshatram based on dharma is what we need. So we should not shy away from taking hard decisions. One of such decisions was taken by this government when they diluted the Article 370 and Article 35A. And I'm sure, be it this government or the governments that come, need to take some hard decisions to restore the pristine glory of Bharat. I'm making my humble submissions in terms of my thoughts as to what should we do, what should the government do. It's military action is not the only solution or not the first solution. We need to take several steps before we send in the army. So I have made a small presentation, which, with your permission, I would like to share to our audience.
Sure. Shall we get started? Or you also mentioned last time, remember, right, about 370. You said 370 is not gone. It's only diluted. You stressed that point. People keep on saying it's over, it's done deal. It's not so, right?
Yeah. Article 370 still exists in our statute books, but its applicability to the state of Jammu and Kashmir has been withdrawn by a presidential order, as much as Nehru had used the same presidential order to dilute Article 370 and remove the status of the Prime Minister and President of Jammu and Kashmir to Chief Minister and Governor of that state in the mid-50s. So similarly, the present government had used the same presidential ordinance to dilute it and remove its applicability to Article 370. Article 370 still remains in our statute books, but it doesn't apply to Jammu and Kashmir. Maybe tomorrow we may apply to Sindh, maybe we will apply to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan. We don't know where all we're going to apply Article 370. We can extend that article to other territories where we may not want people to have free movement here while being part of Bharat. Let's see how it goes. It is still there in the statute books.
Now your program has created a lot of interest, and first time I received messages which I shared with you too. So people are going to be watching this across the border too. So Kashmiri Pandits always ask me one question: what is next? So I hope you will touch upon this too, because we have done 65 programs, and the main point is, okay, it's all fine. What is next? So we will find an answer to that too. And I hope you will continue to consider joining us next year too, as we will continue our programs. It's all booked up to January, February now. Thank you, sir. We'll go ahead with the presentation.
Yes, sir. So I'm sure all of you can see the presentation. I called it Operation Sharada. And this is the sad state of Sharada Peeth, which is under Pakistani occupation right now. As we all know, we'll just dwell a little bit in history before we go into the potential solutions. We all know that Kashmir acceded to Bharat on 26th of October 1947. And we know this is the instrument of accession, which is a common instrument of accession, which every riyasat of Bharat, more than 565 riyasats were there. Of them, 525 and odd had acceded to Bharat and the rest to Pakistan. It is the same format which is a part of Indian Independence Act enacted in the British Parliament. Just the fill in the blanks had to be done, which included the name of the ruler, the state, and the date of signing. This is the first page where you can see Raja Hari Singh has given his title as even Deshadipati of Tibet. And then he's given all his titles, Raja de Raj, and all the titles he has given. And then you can see that he has signed it on the 26th of October. He had to change the date, which was originally 15th of August, but then he changed it. He signed it a little later. And you can see Lord Mountbatten acknowledging it, accepting the accession on the 27th. So there is always a debate which date to take as the date of accession. Should it be 26th or 27th? So we all believe that it should be the 26th, not 27th. Mountbatten had no option whether he accepted or not. Once Raja Hari Singh had signed the instrument of accession, it was a done deal. As we all know, this was the map of Jammu and Kashmir under Raja Hari Singh, the glorious state of Riyasat of Jammu and Kashmir, which unfortunately Large parts of it have gone. The red portions are with China, and the green portions are with Pakistan. Even in the green portion, we can see there are two colors. One is a light shade, which they called as Azad Jammu Kashmir, and the dark green shade, which originally they used to call as northern areas, but essentially they are Gilgit-Baltistan. And part of Gilgit-Baltistan, which was called a Shaksgam Valley, Pakistan ceded to China in 1963. The land does not belong to Pakistan, but still they gave it free of cost to China to strike a eternal partnership with China. So as we can see, roughly 60% of the territory only is with us, 30% is with Pakistan, and the rest is with China. The most interesting fact, which a lot of people don't talk about, is there was a small princely state called Chitral, which was under the suzerainty of Raja Hari Singh. Unfortunately, when the instrument of accession was signed, it also meant that all his subjects and the territories under his suzerainty also came to Bharat. But then Pandit Nehru and his government at that time did not contest Chitral being part of Pakistan. They let Chitral be part of Pakistan, and they never staked a claim. So our claim is not just the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but Chitral as well. And as you can see, these are the districts which are in what we generally call as Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which is essentially Western Jammu, save the couple of villages in the Sharada Valley. The rest of the Kashmir Valley is with Bharat, and the territories, what Pakistan calls as Azad Jammu Kashmir, are essentially Western Jammu. They do not speak Kashmiri. They speak Punjabi, Dogra, and Saraiki. So this we need to understand. There is not a single village under Pakistani occupation where Kashmiri language is spoken. So even in the Sharda village, there are no Kashmiri speaking people now. So their claim of calling it Azad Jammu Kashmir or whatever Kashmir name they want to give is hollow. There are no Kashmiris. There is no Kashmir territory in their control. And the northern area, which I spoke about a while back, is essentially Gilgit-Baltistan. And you can see the map of Gilgit-Baltistan, which we should all be familiar with, because this is part of Bharat under illegal occupation of Pakistan. A quick snapshot of our population, our GDP, and our nominal GDP, our per capita GDP. As you can see, we are twice the per capita GDP of Pakistan, and we are many times larger in economy, yet we are spending only 1.65% of our GDP on our defense, whereas Pakistan spends 4.25% on its GDP. No wonder it is on the verge of bankruptcy. 3-4 times its capacity is what it is spending on its armed forces and its security. So the popular security adage is every country has an army, but in Pakistan, the Pakistani army has a country. So we can see from this snapshot how blatantly they're spending money on their defense. And there were two border crossings between the territories under Pakistani occupation and the areas which are in our control. The border crossing in the Kashmir area is the Uri Chakoti crossing, and in the Jammu region it is the Poonch Ravla Kot crossing. But you can see the infrastructure is quite good in both these places, whereas the Kargil Askardu road is horrible. The road on the Kargil side of Bharat is still okay, but you can see the Skardu road on the side of the area under Pakistani occupation, which is absolutely dilapidated. That is because Pakistan only cared for Sunni Muslims. They did not care for the Shias of Kargil and Skardu. And our ancient Bharat's signages are still there in the areas under Pakistani occupation. The Manthal Buddhas of Skardu. Actually, there was a grand Shivalaya up in the mountains, which has been sealed before Hindus left there. that we can't access the photographs now, but I believe it is still intact somewhere up in the mountains in Skardu. Skardu is again a town on the banks of Indus River, Sindhu River. Karga Buddhas are very famous in Gilgit-Baltistan. Similarly, there are Buddha carvings in Hunza area, Hunza Nagara area in Gilgit-Baltistan. This will all get submerged in the dam being constructed by China, which is called as Daimar Basha Dam. And then in the PoJK area, what they call as Azad Jammu Kashmir, in Mirpur, there was a grand Raghunath Mandir, and then there was a Mangla Devi Mandir, Shivalay in Baltistan. All these are now destroyed. In fact, the Mangla Devi Mandir was very popular and it got submerged in the backwaters of the Mangla Dam that was built by Pakistan after the partition. In fact, the dam itself is called Mangla Dam even today. And that area, the Mirpur area, completely the entire town is displaced, and they were sold exorbitant rates lands in Punjab area by the Punjabis. They fleeced them, and people who could not afford all went to UK. In fact, in UK, the people who protest maximum against Bharat, against our interests, are these Mirpuris, who are technically our own citizens. But then, because of the displacement and whatnot, and probably our government did not go and rescue them. November 25th is actually commemorated or observed as Mirpur Day in Jammu even today for the massacres of Mirpur. So Mirpuris are the ones who hate Bharat the most, more than the rest of the Pakistanis. But you can see this area is littered with our mandirs and our great paramparas. This is another snapshot of the area which is Kashmir. As you can see, the orange line is the line of control and the red line is the international border. Sharada Peeth is just beyond that orange line, which is under Pakistani control. So as we go down, we will have a more detailed look at this. And this is the fate of Sharada Peeth under Pakistani occupation now. The steps that lead up to that are filled with trees. The entire buildings, all the buildings are completely collapsed. The lands have been confiscated. In fact, right now, even Pakistanis cannot go to Sharda because the Pakistani army has put up anti-aircraft batteries in and around the compound of Sharda Mutt so that the Kafirs don't want to bomb their own temples. And so the Pakistani army can have a free run of shooting at our aircrafts. So that is the reason why they don't even allow anybody. But this is the fate of Sharda Mata as of now. But then what should Bharat do to take back Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan? A few of my thoughts. But then before I jump into my thoughts, I thought I'll first put up the arguments of those people who say that we should not take back PoJK. So what are the arguments they put forth? They say we should not take over a very radicalized population and add to our already existing problems of radical Islam. We have seen what happened during Nupur Sharma's incident and Raja Singh getting arrested. We have seen the kind of radicalized Islamic elements in this country. So we don't want to add additional radicalized problem on us. This is one argument they put forth. And then any loss of territory is a reason for Pakistan to use nuclear weapons, and so we should avoid taking any action. This is another argument they put forth. Because Pakistan has put certain red lines, and loss of territory is one of them for them to go nuclear in their attack. And then the third argument they say is any action on PoJK or PoGB could invite involvement of China on other fronts. So we should avoid a two-front war. So we should not do anything to this particular territory and we should let it be with Pakistan. Then another argument they put forth is we could be sanctioned by international community, which will hurt our growth story. So like what has happened to Russia today when they invaded Ukraine. Bharat invading or trying to take back PoJK is going to attract sanctions on us. So for the threat or fear of sanctions, we should not do anything to change the status quo. Alternate access to Central Asia is already achieved through North-South Transit Corridor, which passes via Bandar Abbas, Caspian Sea, and into Russia. and also the Chabahar route is quite active. So why do we need to have access to Central Asia through Gilgit-Baltistan? Is the other argument they put forth. They also say that it is impossible to evict non-state subjects from PoJK and PoGB. Non-state subjects are those who came and settled down in the areas occupied by Pakistan after the partition and after their illegal occupation. They are not normal residents of this place. Whereas Punjabis, Pathans, and all these people came and illegally settled down in these areas and changed the demography significantly. So it is impossible for us to kick them out after 70, 80 years. So we might as well not take this territory back. That is the argument they put forth. And another argument they say is military actions don't go as per plan, like what we saw in Ukraine. So we may start the war, but then the outcome, it's not in our control. We could take huge attritions. We could lose a lot of our people, a lot of our soldiers. So it's not worth taking that risk in this modern era. So these are the arguments a lot of people put forth. But then a few answers to these people. Number one, PoJK, PoGB. When I'm saying PoGB, Pakistan occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. Shaksgam Valley and Aksai Chin are our legal territories as defined by our constitution. It is explicitly mentioned in our constitution. So this is enough reason for us to take it back by all means possible. By all means. Could be by diplomatic means or if required by force when we have that capability. And then on 22nd of February, the Parliament of Bharat passed a resolution categorically asking Pakistan to surrender these territories back to us. So the resolution is very clear and that has not been rescinded. So we can answer all the critics saying the Parliament has given a verdict and so we need to take it back. Similarly, historical mistakes cannot be left to stagnate eternally. Like we resolved Article 370-35A, we also need to resolve the issue of PoJK and PoGB. Similarly, Bharat cannot grow into a world stature country if we have not solved our own territorial issues and we are seen to be a weakling, incapable of taking back our own territories. Most importantly, retrieving Ma Sharada Peeth is a civilizational necessity and cannot be ignored eternally. This is the Parliament resolution which demanded Pakistan to surrender back the territories under their illegal occupation. Let's look at a few things what the government could do. A few administrative measures. First, fundamentally, we need to appoint administrators of districts held by Pakistan who will work remotely from Srinagar, Jammu or Leh. That means they will be administering the activities of the districts under Pakistani occupation. Bharat should raise a bill on Pakistan for the amount of taxes it collected from 1948 based on its actual collections. There are reports in the government of Pakistan's records where they have mentioned the kind of taxes they collected from PoJK and Gilgit-Baltistan. So we should stake our claim and say all these taxes belong to us. Please repatriate back to us after deducting what a little amount that you have spent in those territories. We should also raise a bill on Pakistan for the customs duties applicable as per Indian laws for the trade that has happened because PoJK, what they call as AJK, Azad Jammu Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan are not part of Pakistan territory as per Pakistan constitution. So whatever trade happens is actually an export from these territories to Pakistan. So customs duties have to be collected and then custom duty has to be repatriated to Bharat. We need to raise a bill on Pakistan. Similarly, whatever trans LOC trade that the Congress governments had agreed between the Sunni territories of Jammu and Poonch, Rawalakot and Uri, Chakoti, that has to be permanently suspended. And we should also raise a bill on Pakistan for the royalty on minerals extracted from PoJK from Gilgit-Baltistan since 1948. Huge amount of minerals, precious metals, stones, gems are all available in this area. Pakistan extracted it and now it has given all those mines, all those areas to China to exploit. So we should stake our claim and ask them to repatriate all this royalty to us. We should also ask Pakistan to furnish yearly statistics of demography, ethnicity, birth rates, death rates, and all that infant mortality rate, everything they should give to Bharat. Not that they will give, but we should take a claim on them. Then we should ask Pakistan for the medical crime and land revenue records from 1948. This is very crucial because once we take over, this data is very crucial for us to bring development and good governance there. As you can see, massive amount of illegal mining and looting of PoJB is going on. People keep protesting there, but nobody cares. As you can see, the photograph where precious stones picked up from this area are being freely sold by Punjabis. And the photo in the middle, as you can see, the river is full of wood. Trees which are chopped off are thrown into the river, and the rivers flow into Punjab, and that's where the logs are picked up and used by the generals, the politicians, and bureaucracy to build their lavish houses in Rawalpindi and in Lahore and elsewhere. So today the Gilgit-Baltistan is completely stripped of its tree cover, its forests, and it's been left barren desert. We should also take a few judicial measures. What should we do? We should extend the jurisdiction of Indian courts to PoJK and GB. There are several cases where people in these territories have been exploited and have been tortured. In fact, there are examples where people came onto the streets and there are videos which they released. They have been kicked out of their houses by the local administration, and they said, if you do not restore our house, we will complain to Narendra Modi, we will complain to Bharat and ask the Indian army to come and help us. So the voices have started in PoJK and PoGB. So once our jurisdiction is extended, they can even remotely apply for justice. We can pass judgments on those officers who have done any injustice to these people. Similarly, we should declare the constitution of Azad Jammu Kashmir and all administrative orders for Gilgit-Baltistan as ultra-wires illegal and inoperative. Any decisions taken by them are illegal as per Indian constitution. So once we give such a pronouncement, we have every right to take other actions against Pakistan, either directly or through international fora. We should facilitate the filing of cases in absentia of complaints from residents of PoJK and GB against their local civil administration in Indian courts and try those cases as per Indian constitution. Similarly, we should also appoint a Truth and Reconciliation Commission on the lines that the South African government had done after the apartheid regime. We should appoint tribunals like the Nuremberg trials and try Pakistani officials, politicians, army, police for crimes against the Indian citizens, including the Kalash tribe and PoJK and GB. Whether they are alive or dead, whether present in absentia or posthumously. We should do the trial. So we shouldn't bother about what Pakistan reacts or what the international community reacts. The moment we know that this is our territory, there are our people, actions will be based on our sovereignty and not at the mercy of somebody else. We should also declare all land and property that have been purchased by non-residents in these territories since 1948 as illegal. I don't know how many of you are aware, but huge amount of land is owned by Imran Khan, by Nawaz Sharif, by Benazir Bhutto, the Bhutto family, and all these politicians, including their army chiefs, own huge amount of land in wonderful, beautiful, scenic holiday resorts of Gilgit-Baltistan and PoJK. All that we have to declare as they don't own, it's all illegal. You can see the exploitation of people of PoJK and PoGB. There was this case of Baba Jan, who was arrested because he was demanding proper services from the civil administration. He was not even asking for Azadi or wanting to join Bharat. He just asked for the basic requirements. Still, the government of Pakistan put him in prison. So they have no rights at all because there is no constitution, especially in Gilgit-Baltistan, and it is just run by a presidential order issued from Islamabad, and there are no elections. It's completely ignored territory. So that exploitation needs to be addressed by Bharat. We need to own these people. We need to start issuing démarches. We need to start giving voice to these people, own them up. And that is how it's not just the territory, it is the people as well. While there are radicalized elements, we should also not ignore, not forget that the rest of the large section of the population, like in the Kashmir Valley under our control, who may be anti-Bharat, but they're still Indians, they're still Bharatiyas. We will deal with them the way we need to deal, but then they are our citizens, and government of Bharat should raise its voice against their atrocities on them. Certain legislative measures I'm suggesting. We should declare elections held under Pakistani or PoJK laws as illegal and ultra-vires. And we should also consider the areas under Pakistani control while doing delimitation and apply the territorial rules as were applicable in 1947. So the current delimitation has completely ignored those territories. And as you all are aware, whenever elections are declared to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the Election Commission of India would first say that these are the districts or these are the constituencies which are under Pakistani occupation. Hence, we are unable to conduct elections for them. And so we are issuing notification for the rest. I think we should stop that. We should now start filling up the seats of all these areas, the 24 and odd seats which are reserved for areas under Pakistani occupation need to be nominated now while elections may not be held. There are enough migrants from there living either in Bharat or abroad. We should start nominating them, and they should start voicing the concerns of their territories back under Pakistani occupation in our assemblies, in our parliaments. Similarly, we should also provide representation for Kashmiri Pandits in both J&K Assembly as well as our parliament. As you know that the Nehruvian government had given 2 seats to Anglo-Indian community, which had, there are no Anglo-Indians today, but still Anglo-Indians have 2 seats in assemblies as well as in parliament. Kashmiri Pandits are in such a horrible state. They have been displaced from the valley, so they cannot even win a single councillorship. They are refugees in their own motherland, in their own homeland. They cannot be a force in any election whatsoever, should their voice not be heard. So since they cannot win, or the circumstances force them in a situation where they can never contest or win an election, it is incumbent upon the government to provide them voice in assembly and parliament. And so we should replace this Anglo-Indian nonsense and then give those seats to Kashmiri Pandits, at least till the time when we can really see the Kashmiri Pandits reclaiming their lands back in the Kashmir Valley. Similarly, we need to make certain strong policy decisions. We should warn Pakistan that they cannot alienate further territories from PoJK or Gilgit-Baltistan. This is very important because Pakistan is so deep in debt from China that there is no other way but to give out territory to China on long-term lease or probably on permanent settlement. Like how Sri Lanka has done with Hambantota to China, probably Pakistan has to give out Gilgit-Baltistan and parts of PoJK to China. They may not want to lose their own territory in Punjab, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or in Balochistan, or in Sindh. So the territory which is not their territory, which is in their illegal occupation, they can as well barter it away to reduce their debt, which they have already done in 1963 when they gave away Shaksgam Valley. So we should make a strong, firm policy decision that Bharat will not tolerate any further alienation of these territories to anybody. We should also ask Pakistan to hand over Shaksgam Valley to us, because the agreement between Pakistan and China is that Shaksgam Valley's transfer to China is dependent on the final settlement of the Kashmir question between Pakistan and Bharat. So we should tell Pakistan candidly that we will take over all Gilgit-Baltistan and PoJK. So the agreement between them and China also stands cancelled. It is for Pakistan to go and talk to China and get Shaksgam Valley back to us. Similarly, we should warn all international community, especially China, that if they send their army into PoJK or Gilgit-Baltistan, which is our legal territory, Bharat reserves the right to take appropriate actions. We could take any action that we deem fit to protect our sovereignty, and we should tell them in no uncertain terms, like China expects every country to follow one China policy, we should tell China to follow one Bharat policy. That all these territories, we'll deal with China occupied Kashmir later, but at least on the Pakistan front, they have to categorically accept this. If they do not accept and send their army there, we reserve the right to take them out. This is a stern warning we need to give to everybody. Similarly, we should ask all the infrastructure that is going on in PoJK, as we should demand that this is part of our territory and this is our assets. Okay, and then we should demand of Pakistan, since they keep on claiming UN resolution, we should tell them the UN resolution first statement said that they need to vacate that area and take back all illegal occupants. Let them first do that. Then we'll talk about what we need to do rest. We don't need to go back to UN at all. We need to also do a lot of psychological pressure building on them. For instance, we should continue to issue weather bulletins on places in PoJK and GB as if they are our territories. Similarly, we should start TV and radio stations to beam content into PoJK and GB against Pakistan and in support of those territories being part of Bharat. As I said, Baba Jan's case or any other exploitation that happens there, that we need to beam. Like they were beaming Pakistan TV into Kashmir when this 1990s nonsense happened, we should do the same psychological give back to them. We should also conduct countrywide conferences, seminars, symposium, workshops, and build a world opinion in our favor. This particular webinar is probably the initiation, I believe, and they should have a wide acceptance across the globe, not just in Bharat, and we should try and build up this constituency in our favor. We should start supporting the anti-Pakistan and anti-China forces in PoJK and GB. There are lots of them. Unfortunately, we have taken a very technical view and we do not support them. We do not even give them visas while they want to travel here. So we need to be more supportive of them. We also need to start issuing démarches to Pakistan for every visit from the mainland Pakistan. As you all know, even if Prime Minister of Bharat visits Arunachal Pradesh, China calls our ambassador and issues a démarche. They say that any change in status quo of disputed territories is not acceptable. So why are we not doing it? Imran Khan went there and addressed the locals as Mere Pyare Pakistani Gilgit Baltistaniyo. So how did Gilgit Baltistanis become Pakistanis? And there was no response from us. So whoever goes to those territories, any officer going there, we should strongly protest. Recently, Ilhan Omar went there and Donald Blum, the American ambassador to US, went there. We should protest strongly. We should issue a démarche, not just to Pakistan, but also to USA. Similarly, there are many languages which are in this Gilgit-Baltistan area. Bharat simply does not even know about them. Like we have Balti, we have Shina, Wakhi, Burushaski, Khowar, Domaki, and Kalash. We need to protect them. For instance, in the 1999 Kargil war, the people sitting on the tops were talking a language which our intelligence officers never understood. They thought they were Pathans, but they were talking a language they took 2 days to understand, that it was Balti language. I don't know how many of you are aware, in 1971 war, we took back 5 villages of Balti-speaking people, which were originally in Pakistani control since 1947. Turtuk, Chalanke, Thang, Pachthang, and villages like that. 5 villages we took back. Unfortunately, 2 of those villages are still in Pakistani control. So there are Balti-speaking people in our territory, but we don't even know it. Balti language is our language, Bharatiya language. Shina language has a lot of similarities to Tamil. So the Kalash tribe has many similarities to Dakshin Bharat. So we need to support these languages, provide centers here, and probably give them Sahitya Puraskars or any other awards that we deem fit. And also we should demand from Pakistan to return all archaeological finds in these territories. Those archaeological finds rightfully belong to Bharat. as you can see, the psychological pressure that I'm referring to, the Doordarshan started publishing Muzaffarabad and Gilgit and other areas, but I think we should take it extensively. Similarly, Kashmiri activists who are calling out for Pakistan's exploitation of Gilgit-Baltistan and PoK need to be given pride of place, and those people who are demonstrating against Pakistan need our support. The Kalash tribe is almost going extinct. They urgently need our support to survive, and the government in Delhi should take this up very seriously. The psychological pressure that is to be built up is also on our side as well. These are a few of the snapshots which I took in the area which is called as Nubra Valley. As you can see, they have even put the road to Skardu. Skardu and Gilgit are in Pakistani control. Yet, the Indian Army has Siachen warriors have put that this road will lead to Skardu and Gilgit. And you see, they have also put Shaksgam Valley to Setu Samudram. Bharat is one. We know Shaksgam Valley is in Chinese control. But the Indian Army has not forgotten it. And you see another word which says Indira Coal to Indira Point. Bharat is one. Indira Point is the southernmost tip of Bharat in Nicobar Islands. Indira Coal is the northernmost point in Siachen Glacier overlooking Shaksgam Valley. So look at the narrative that we need to build up in Bharat itself. And you see Kilik Pass to Cape Comorin, Bharat is one. Kilik Pass is the pass through which the China-Pakistan economic corridors enters Xinjiang. This is in Gilgit area. So all these territories we need to start claiming. Bharatiya Army is doing it. Why not all of us? A lot of statements are coming these days from many people. Tourism Minister Prahlad Singh Patel had made a statement then. Jitendra Singh, our Army Chief Manoj Naravne, so many people, our representatives there, everybody started now talking that we will take back PoJK, which is a positive sign. Some international actions also we need to take. We have this UN monitoring group on India and Pakistan having an office in Srinagar. I think we should just remove their diplomatic visas, ask them to leave, and I think we should withdraw the case filed by Nehru government in UNSC. We should just withdraw it. We should show our spine. We don't need to worry about what Pakistan thinks or what anybody thinks, because UN is sincerely, UN is dead. Long live United Nations. It has no power. It could not stop a single war. It is not able to influence anybody anywhere in the world. So I don't think we should care anything about them. We should simply go ahead and withdraw this UNSC case. We should also declare the Baluchistan accession as illegal and provide the Baluchi government in exile some space in our country. They should have access to us. They should be able to freely come here and participate in seminars and give their viewpoint. Similarly, I think we should also start giving selectively, like we gave to Adnan Sami. We should start giving to some people, like we have Tariq Fateh, Tahir Aslam Gora, Amjad Ayub Mirza, Sanjay Sering. There are scores of them who are fighting for Bharat, who are pro-Bharat, who are openly anti-Pakistan and pro-Bharat. All those people need to be given Bharatiya citizenship. And so this narrative is very powerful when it comes to people in Pakistan wanting to run away. In fact, most of their businessmen live in Dubai and they just stay in Pakistan to extract money from there. We should also allow all countries to open consulates in Jammu and Kashmir, except of course Pakistan, Turkey and China, probably even Indonesia. But rest of it, we should allow people to open their embassies there. That itself will say that they have recognized this territorial claim that we have put forth. We should also allow, citizenship to intellectuals, cricketers, whoever wants to come to Bharat. We need to first ask them to sign a declaration that they reject the two-nation theory, they completely reject Pakistan, and they are part of Bharat. The moment they say that, we should give them citizenship. This is the absolutely fantastic psychological pressure that we can build up. These are some of the people who are pro-Bharat, and we need to really give them citizenship. A few more international actions. I think we should enter into a strategic alliance with the US. US is becoming weak, and for them to survive against China, they need Bharat. we need to strike a hard bargain with US. We need to tell them that we will support you on China, but then you need to let us have our territories back. I think we need to have a very clear-cut understanding with US, no dilly-dallying on it. Similarly, we need to tell China that we shall take back PoJK and GB, and we don't desire any of their territories, but then we need to take back the areas under Pakistani occupation, and that is not negotiable. As much as China does not want to negotiate one China policy, we need to tell them one Bharat policy is non-negotiable. Similarly, if China gets involved in any military action that we take against Pakistan, if China wants to get involved, we need to give them a clear warning that we will blockade them in the Nicobar Islands, in the Andaman Sea, where we are the policemen. So between Banda Aceh and Indira Point, there's a narrow stretch of strait from where roughly 70% of China's trade goes through. If we blockade that, China is completely, its economy collapses. So we need to give them that warning that we will not hesitate in blockading you if you get involved when we are taking action against Pakistan. Similarly, our dependence on Russia and other external imports was so intense because of the corruption involved by the previous regimes that started changing. Still, we are from 83%, we have come down to somewhere around 60-65% dependence even now. The moment we go down below 40, our real Atmanirbharata will happen. The government is taking steps in that direction, but the moment we have 40% reliance, any military action that we take, we are not held hostage by these powers. The drone technology that we are taking from US and Israel needs to be indigenized. Then once we start looking at like how US had the right to go and take out assets, take out terrorists in Pakistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or in Afghanistan, we should also do that. We know that Pakistan cannot retaliate because that is too low a threshold. We can send our sophisticated drones and take out, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, and all their leaders. We should take them out. Pakistan can't crib because they are all sanctioned by United Nations, and they are not going to go to war with Bharat for losing, all these people who are already terrorists as per United Nations. We have not filed a case against Pakistan for the torturous death they inflicted on Captain Saurabh Kalia during Kargil. I think we should revive that. We should start taking Pakistani generals to International Court of Justice for war crimes in PoJK and GB, and we should start putting a huge amount of pressure on them. For every death that happens in these areas, any abduction, conversion, we should start giving demarches. And all these demarches should go to all embassies in Bharat so that relentlessly we start exposing Pakistan. We should, of course, give moral support to all democratic forces in Pakistan opposed to their army and ISI. So predatory targeting of Pakistani exports is a wonderful option that we should explore. Their biggest exports are textiles and cement. So textiles, we should undercut the textile cost and see that all business that goes to Pakistan either goes to us or to Bangladesh. So Pakistani economy is already in doldrums and they will completely collapse if we are able to do this predatory targeting of their businesses. We should also make it very expensive for China to handle CPEC. Probably we need to support the freedom fighters of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to ensure that Chinese can't get out of their bunkers in Gwadar. The moment there is a huge cost to pay in these areas, China will start talking to Bharat. Then we negotiate with them that we will allow your CPEC to go, provided you don't object to our actions in Gilgit-Baltistan and PoJK. We should make it extremely expensive for Pakistan that they will have to decide whether to hold on to PoJK or to survive as a nation. Similarly, anti-Pakistani forces in Afghanistan have been there for a long time. They have no access because our access to Afghanistan is cut off through Gilgit-Baltistan. So the Chabahar route we need to really enforce and then start supplying support to these forces in Afghanistan who are opposed to Pakistan. our line of control has been quiet for the past 2 years. We gave the Pakistan army the benefit, and so they could build bunkers there, and they shifted their army to Afghanistan, and we know what happened in Afghanistan. I don't think we should give them that benefit. They're in such pathetic condition. They do not have ammunition for more than a week. I think we should continue bombarding on the line of control. Let the line of control be active. So Pakistani army cannot sustain a relentless bombardment from us for such a long time. I don't think we should give them that benefit at all. Similarly, we should start doing psychological warfare on them. For instance, the terrorists who cross over to Bharat and come, they are willing to die here because they're expecting the 72 hoors in Jannat. And their belief is the hoors, they will not be able to get their hoors if they are cremated. If they are buried and janaza is read, they go to the heaven. So, because people like Barkhadat and all these pseudo-seculars say terrorists have no religion, so be it. So let us cremate these people who come from across the border so that nobody else will dare to come because they will not get the 72 hoors. It's a psychological warfare that we need to fight. This was exactly what was used by the Peshmerga army in Iraq and Syria when they defeated ISIS. They sent the women army, and they had guns where once you fire on the ISIS soldier, the body used to burn. It is not you are killing somebody. The body used to burn to ashes. So they knew that they are not going to get 72 horse in heaven. So they ran away. So it was the women Peshmerga army which defeated ISIS by psychological warfare. We should adopt similar thing. Of course, we cannot do the same thing to our own boys who turn terrorists. All we can do is we can bury them in full Islamic honor in some unknown territory, maybe somewhere in Gujarat, maybe somewhere in Hyderabad or Chennai or somewhere, so that martyr memorials are not built on them. Similarly, we need to we need to blacklist companies which sell to Pakistan. Any international manufacturer who is selling to Pakistan, we should blacklist them. Because Bharat is a much, much bigger market for them. They cannot afford to lose that. So we need to weaponize our capability, our economy to bring additional pain to Pakistan. Similarly, anybody who is, even from China, who's remotely trying to help them, like their mobile apps or anybody, we should start threatening them that they need to cut off their relationship in Pakistan. We need to, like China is using their economy as a weapon, we need to weaponize our own leverage on economy on Pakistan. And as you can see, the CPEC goes through Bharat's territory here, Gilgit-Baltistan into Kashgar. So on top of it, even within our own country, we need to bring consensus. We need to go to Government of India. The Government of India should issue a document of purpose. How are we going to take back PoJK, circulate it among political parties, create a political action group, probably even bring a parliamentary committee on it, and then we set some timelines and start increasing the heat on Pakistan and eventually take it back. This has to be a movement from the government and the people. All the think tanks, the civil society, the NGOs, everybody should get involved. Everybody should start giving their ideas and start demanding of the government in terms of actions on taking back these territories. When nothing happens, when everything is done, as I said, all the steps are taken. Of course, the final action is to take a military action when everything else is in place. As I said, once you have softened out Pakistan in terms of administrative, legal, judicial, international, and all other measures, final action is to take over Pakistan by military action. And we are not far away from it. As you can see, when Rajnath Singh ji was campaigning in Himachal Pradesh, people started asking, we want POK, we want POK. So the voices have started in Bharat. So Rajnath Singh ji very clearly said, Dhairya rakhiye. That means it is in the plan of the government. Similarly, you can see even Dattaji Hosbode, the RSS General Secretary, he also said people of POK look up to India for freedom from Pakistan. So even RSS is coming on the same page. And as recently as a few days back, Rajnath Singh made a statement that the development in Ladakh is not complete unless we reach Gilgit-Baltistan. As soon as he made the statement, the Chinar Corps commander of Srinagar made a wonderful statement. He said, "We will not look back once given orders." This is what Lieutenant General ADS Ojla, who is commander in charge of the entire Kashmir Valley, he made a statement. That means Indian Army has made plans of taking over PoJK should the political decision come. But as I said, political decision, the military action should be the last, and the initial steps that we take, asserting our sovereignty, should precede. And once all that is over, then military action has to happen, and there is no looking back. Ultimately, we need to restore this map of the entire Jammu and Kashmir as was handed over to us by Raja Hari Singh. Not just that, what do we need? We need sincere, honest, aggressive, relentless, action-oriented, dedicated approach to this problem. In short, we need Sharada. As you can see from Srinagar, there are 3 points. One, Tarbal, which is in Gurez Valley. Another, Keran, which is very close to Sharada Peeth. And the third is Titwal near Kupwara. These are the 3 points which are close to Sharada Peeth. Each one of us, every Bharatiya, should visit these 3 places and pray to Ma Sharada and ask her grace, ask her blessings that she returns back to her Akhand Bharat. So it is in our interest, it is our duty that every Bharatiya also goes to as close as possible to Sharada Peeth and prays to her. Ultimately, we need to restore Sharada Peeth to its pristine glory. Not just Sharada Peeth, but the Sharada Lipi, the Sharada script also should come back in its glory. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini, Tvam Aham Prarthaye Nityam, Vidyadhanam cha Dehime. So we need to pray to Mata to restore back all these territories back to us. Namaste. This is a photograph which I have taken in Tarbal. The mountains behind are in Pakistani control. The line of control ends at the place where the river turns into the Pakistani territory. So I had the opportunity, I had the grace of Mata to go to this place, which is north of Sharada Peeth, to pray to Sharada Mata with the sankalpa of restoring Akhand Bharat. I'm sure all of us should do it. And when I could do it, a small person like me could do it. Lot many people, Vidwans, great scholars, sadhakas can all do it. We should all go, pray Sharada Mata, and then restore our pristine Akhand Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, Giridhar ji. Wonderful presentation. And those who watched our presentation are very familiar with most of the background information that you gave. Very convincing points. And it's all judiciary that you touched upon. And the military is what you talked at the end. It's just one line you mentioned. Before I make concluding remarks, shall we just see one or two points raised by people? I think that is interesting. Let us read this one.
Sure.
This is from Avatar Krishan Durrani, Kashmiri Pandit, who appeared in our program and is planning to come again. Hope you can read. Kashmiri Pandits are thrown out of temple Dharmashala in Srinagar today. How you expect Indian government to take so huge steps who cannot handle situation in our own territory? No, but I'm sure you may get a call Monday morning. I don't know from whom, but or you are already talking to them. I think that this is a fair point, right? Kashmiri Pandits are going to be coming back again to this. So how do you view this point?
I fully understand the pain of Kashmiri Pandits. I am completely with them. The government has failed, and unfortunately, even the current government has not done enough. So let's be very clear, there are no two ways about it. The Kashmiri separatists and the Islamists want tourists there. So they don't harm the tourists. You and I can go as a tourist because we give them revenue. But when Kashmiri Pandits want to go and settle down there, they create all kinds of hurdles and they start targeting them. that is still a major issue. So my focus of this presentation has largely been on the territories under Pakistani occupation. I have not spoken about the potential actions that the government should take within our own territories under our own control. So there are lots of them, and so maybe we could do a seminar or we could do a session on that as well. Essentially, expecting Kashmiri Pandits to go there all by themselves is like sending a goat for a sacrifice. They're not going to go there as a sacrificial lambs. It has to be the entire Hindu Samaj of this desh which has to go there. So the mindset of Article 370 should go from our minds. Why should only Kashmiri Pandits go? Do you think Uttarakhand Kshetras have only Uttarakhandis there? Are there no Tamilians there? Are there no Malayalis there? Are there no Andhras there who bought lands and settled down there? It is this particular aspect that we need to really stress upon. People are able to go up to Jammu, but nobody is willing to go to the Kashmir Valley. It is, of course, the bond and duty of government to provide that kind of situation there. When I have a lot of interaction with even the local Muslims who are pro-Bharat and who are anti-Pakistan or anti-Azadi. So they say that the ecosystem is still controlling the narrative there. So the bureaucracy there, which had vested interest in militancy there, is creating a gap between the policymakers of Delhi and the ground level activists. So there is a gap. We have challenges. I'll give one example what has happened during Ramadan time. The power used to go exactly in the evening when they about to break a fast. So they started building a narrative that it was Narendra Modi who wanted to torture Muslims. This was actually deliberately being done by a local Muslim, linesmen, and then a narrative was being built in the masjids. Even the government of Jammu and Kashmir is not aware that such a narrative is going on in the streets. When I traveled, I saw this. So there is a gap between the administration and what is actually happening in the ground level. So Kashmiri Pandits do have a serious problem. They are their grievances are not being seriously addressed. Even those people who have gone on PM package, Prime Minister's package, are not getting proper accommodation, and they're really suffering a lot. And I'm completely with them. And we are non-Kashmiris. We are complete outsiders to the whole system. So there is very little that we can do. But we also stand in solidarity with them, demanding solutions from this government. Not just this government, any government. And the governments that come through, we have a serious problem. Yes, we have come a certain way. Article 370, 35A has effectively removed the sense of separate identity that we have achieved. Militancy has come down significantly. Tourism and other activities have improved quite a lot. There are positive signs, but that's not enough. A civilizational response of restoring back the great Shaiva tradition there, the Kashmiri Pandits' old traditions and legacies. This is something which the government is still not looking at. Building roads, building sanitation is not the end in itself. Giving more schools and more colleges is not the solution alone. There is a civilizational solution which the government is missing, and I am fully with the Kashmiri Pandits on this count.
No, as you mentioned, that's a separate topic, and we are going to address that too. But like you mentioned, today's topic is somewhat extended view of what's happening in Kashmir. We talked in a broader scale. One more point, we'll just take it up. Pakistan's collapse is imminent in few years. Retrieval of PoJK or Sharada Peeth is possible. Not possible now, as public opinion is not in favor of any conflict now. I don't think you agree with this.
Well, I don't agree. Pakistan is not going to collapse anytime soon. They had just $7.5 billion just a week back. Suddenly now they've got around $13 billion out of nowhere. China has given them, Saudi Arabia has given them. Mohammed bin Salman is now flying down into Pakistan. He's offering another additional 10 billion investment in Gwadar. So suddenly out of nowhere, they're getting $15-20 billion. and US is giving them money. They have given $450 million worth of support for their F-16s. What are F-16s going to do for their anti-terrorism operations? F-16s are only used against Bharat, nothing else. Still, America is supporting them. So you see, Pakistan has a way of surviving. I don't think Pakistan is going to collapse anytime soon, though a lot of people are hoping that it happens because they see what Imran Khan is doing, the economy collapse, so many signs they start speculating it. Please understand, Somalia and Ethiopia have also not collapsed. They are in a worse situation than Pakistan. Yet they are surviving as a nation. So North Korea is surviving as a nation, though it is so internalized, completely cut off from the rest of the world. Still, it is surviving. So Pakistan also can survive. I don't think it is going to go anytime soon. Balochistan is a vast area with very thin Baluchi population. It does not have the population like in Bangladesh for them to break away. And that too, they don't have any land connect with Bharat. So we are not in a position to go and help them. Half of their territory is in Iranian control. So the moment you support Baluchi liberation, immediately the Iranian counter-offensive will also come, because there are voices in Sistan, Balochistan also. So it is not so easy for Pakistan to break up anytime soon. Of course, I have a different take on that. I believe they have a strength because their capital is in Ishania, Islamabad. Nations with capital in Ishania generally tend to survive. British government survived. British India survived when they had their capital in Kolkata. They perished when they shifted to Delhi. Similarly, Washington is in the Ishania of USA. Beijing is in Ishania of China. So there is Desha Vastu also. So though they are Asuric, the Vastu is protecting them. They lost so many wars, yet they are surviving. I don't think Pakistan is going to collapse anytime soon. They are a nuclear power, please understand. So it is in the interest of the world powers to see that it survives. So we have to start asserting our own rights, not dependent on these world powers. It is the people, it is a common you and me who start asking, demanding the return of Sharada Mata. And then we should start pushing the government to take these actions which I suggested, or probably more. It is our actions which will make the government to start acting. And it is Bharat and Bharat alone which has to take steps to take it back. We can't expect Pakistan to collapse or the world to come and help us out.
Now, since you talked about Graha Vastu and all, I can't help saying this. This is like evicting a tenant who is subleasing the house, living there for 50 years, and also making alterations in the house. And we have enough of that in our own country. And finally, we're able to evict some tenants. And we have seen that also. There are very interesting points you talked about. You mentioned about, I think, OCI card. I can't imagine the queue in every Indian consulate abroad if that is implemented. And then about putting pressure on China. China already, Arunachal Pradesh, you mentioned. At some point, I think, even for Kashmiri visitors, they were stamping and not in passport. Something happened long ago about this also. So these are all pressures that you can put. You touched upon mostly the judicial. And so, in short, you are talking about, it's like back office operations sitting here and planning all these strategies. Very interesting. And as I mentioned, we would like to have you again. It's good to have this different strategic thinking from our cultural heritage that you have been talking. So people also understand so well, since we have a background covering all this so many weeks. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. And we will continue to monitor your YouTube activities and bring you again early 2023. Jai Jai Shankara Hara Hara.
My pleasure.
Thank you, viewers. We exceeded our time by almost 15 minutes. It's always very interesting talking to Giridhar ji. As I've been watching his YouTube videos, he covers quite interesting topics on these aspects. And I'm sure he is sitting in several committees and being heard also. So we'll bring him back again. We thank Kanchi Kamakodi Pitam for this opportunity and for streaming through all the media channels, YouTube and Facebook. And of course, as I always say, Dinamalar, that gives a lot of coverage of our programs. And finally, VDSP for all the streaming support. Till we meet with another interesting topic next Saturday, Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara.